morning, everybody. Michelle is here. I think today is Thursday. Ow, wow, wow, wow. Let's see. Thursday, January the 23rd, 2025. And I got myself up this morning. I had to get up and prepare my lunch. My breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I kind of do all that all at once, get everything prepared and ready to go, because it's just easier for me to do that, and then, that way I can take care of all the stuff later. But I just want to come on through on this Thursday, January 23rd, 2025, and just I want to send out peace and love to those of you that are my silent supporters. I want to continue to send universal love to you, because I know that you're all over the universe. How about that? And I also want to send nothing but love to people out there that are intentionally have this desire, have this passion, have this willfulness to help people and to help people kind of snap out of it. But we also know that, people have to snap out of it on their own. All I can do is set out breadcrumbs and set out information, kind of guide it for you, kind of open things up for you. And opening things up for you is via your consciousness. Opening up your consciousness to understand what is really going on behind the scenes, and sometimes in plain sight. Some things are happening in plain sight. So I know a lot of people are despondent and, kind of upset for various reasons, which you are allowed to express yourself any shape, size, or form, any way that you can to express yourself. When I started doing these videos, like in 2022-ish, I was coming into a point of being healed. There was some residual, of course, there's going to be residual, as you are attempting to heal. But that's where I was headed. That's the stage I was headed. And I put it all on video. I want everyone to see what it looks like, feels like, sounds like, and how you sense and receive it on all of these videos that I have. They have those kind of breadcrumbs of stages of how I came to be healed. I am healed. In other words, I am here and now. I'm not focusing on my past pain. I'm not focusing on my past this, except to, when I start speaking to people, except to be as information for you. In other words, my feelings and my emotions and all of that is not trapped in that. I'm not experiencing those things that I say caused some pain for me as I was developing myself and evolving myself, especially my consciousness. You have to go through life struggles. And a lot of people say, oh, no, you're not supposed to be struggling. And that's what's, I'm so happy. I'm just so happy a lot of people are getting themselves exposed. They're getting themselves exposed as charlatans. They're getting themselves exposed as criminals, that criminal energy. Because all they were doing was just lying and manipulating people, lying, being deceptive. And I'm so glad, that they are going to reap what they've sown. That's not cheering about it. And it's not revenge and retaliation, but it's like, gosh, it's about time. It's about time. And sometimes it's about the timing of things, the timing of things. Because when you are a young person, keep in mind, when you're a young person, it's easy for you to kind of, regain yourself or continue to devolve yourself. Okay, but when you get to a ripe age where there's not much you can do, that's going to be the revelation for a lot of people. A lot of people say, well, gosh, these people are living such a long lives. Yeah, a lot of people live long lives for a reason. There's a reason for everything. So because somebody is in their 70s, 80s, 90s, and above, it doesn't mean anything about that they are better, or that they are highly favored, or they are chosen, or they are, it means nothing. Okay. It's just going to allow you to kind of sit in it, so to speak, and, see what has blossomed based on your behaviors and actions, whether they were positive or negative. That's all that is. It doesn't mean that all because you can live to be 80 years old that you're blessed. That all of that stuff is just illogical, and it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to say that I'm living to be 80 years old, I'm blessed, but then you look around in your circumstances, and chances are you're not blessed at all. You're desperate, okay? You're destitute. You're lonely. That's what we're hearing a lot of. People are lonely. So anyway, when I started doing these videos, like I said, back in the day, 2022, is when I re-entered back on the online surface, as they say, social media platforms or whatever they're calling it. I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm glad I did, because it helped me to cultivate and contemplate and expand what I thought I knew. A lot of us, what we were doing was relying on so-called experts to disseminate information to us. And as it turns out, a lot of them were nothing more, nothing less than fraud. And they're being exposed. Take a look around. It's more those that intentionally call themselves experts, like scientists, engineers, teachers, messengers, prophets, pastors, preachers, popes, politicians, business leaders. The list can go on and on and on and on and on. That they were the experts, and everybody's supposed to be listening to them. They're supposed to be at the hierarchical structure, and they're supposed to be, disseminating all this so-called quote unquote knowledge that they have, the intelligence that they have. Is all being exposed. Okay. Where all they cared about is just, is being at that hierarchical structure, the only one there. Then they have their little slaves that, follow through on their destruction of humanity. Okay, via subjugation, via submissiveness, via subservient, bowing, being obedient. Okay, that's what those people in that served as so-called, leader or God, as they call themselves, or prophets, messengers, whatever. That's how they trickle things down to the people that are so-called following them. So, but a lot of them are being exposed, as well as the people that were complicit. There's a lot of complicity in it as well. People standing by knowing that this person at this hierarchical structure was lying and deceiving people. And it's going to get more exposed in politics. It's going to get more exposed in politics. I know a lot of people have made a lot of efforts to destroy things, destroy books, ban books. But I told you there's a permanent storage bank of everything. A lot of people are not accepting that. We used to call it Akashic records or something. That's what they used to call it. That has expired, by the way. Akashic records. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, I'll have to, let me see if I can. It's like a storage bank, planetary storage blank, planetary storage blank. Oh gosh, okay, here we go, we're starting. Planetary storage bank. Okay, banks. Let's see if I can find it. I'll find it. But it's like a records of events that happens on a planet. Okay, I told you all of us have our own individual storage banks. Okay, and we also have a planetary storage bank as well. Okay, they used to call it Akashic records or something like that. But anyway, so nothing is ever destroyed. Nothing is ever lost. Everything remains the same. We lose nothing. So if you consider that with the individual, me as an individual, my lineage, goes back millions of years, and it will continue forward millions of years. But nothing is ever lost. Only thing that is lost is me, what I call myself, me, or Michelle. This what you see, physical presence of who I am as Michelle, the personality or whatever. Once I die or pass away, I should, die. When I say die, that's expired as well. We pass on. We pass away. This physical, what you see, gets buried into the ground and becomes organic matter for the planet. All right, I said a lot about that and don't need to say it anymore. But I made a lot of mistakes. Like I said, I was relying on so-called experts to disseminate information to me about certain policies and procedures, certain laws and regulations, and especially with the U.S. Constitution and the amendments. The people that are so-called experts in that have no idea what they're talking about, and a lot of people are figuring this out. Okay, that's why I say that's how you know nobody's reading a goddamn thing. Nobody's reading the U.S. Constitution, especially the people that we pay with our taxpayer money to disseminate it for us, to interpret it for us. They have no idea what they're talking about. It's smoke and mirrors, lies and manipulation, intentional deception. The same thing with Roe v. Wade. Has anybody read that? So I say that since a lot of us are taking this moment to rest and collect ourselves, regain our sacredness, regain our sanity, breathe, stay structured and grounded in your reality. Whatever is going on in politics is business as usual, in an unusual way, I should say. So, and so if you genuinely want to understand what's going on, take these moments to ground yourself and ask yourself, what the hell do I know about anything? And more importantly, what the hell do I know about myself? What do I know about myself? Okay. How am I being interpreted? What's my foundation? Okay. Who am I? What am I? Why am I? Ask those kind of questions, deep-seated questions about yourself. No one has to know. And I told you this, it's private anyway. All of these things about evolving your consciousness is private. You want to get the information from the outside, either from guides like myself and others, and you want to be able to incorporate it into you and work on it silently. Work on it silently. Nobody has to know. I can be sitting right here as I do anyway. I'm grounded. I pay attention to what I hear. I hear people arguing or talking loud, I should say. I don't know what they're arguing. What do I smell? Taste. I got me some fruit and yogurt here. I like to snack on stuff all day long. So I want to make that clear and effective. I like to have something around me where I can snack on or eat all day long and drink water, juice, coffee, tea, whatever. My feet are grounded. It's cool in here this morning. So take these moments to go back and re-educate yourself. Don't relearn anything. Keep what you've learned. Go back, re-educate yourself, and see what's the correlation. See if there's some contradiction. And chances are there are contradictions. Okay, and find those moments of contradiction to resolve it. Get clarity about what it really means. A lot of people are going to be exposed. And the reason why I keep stressing on that, they're not going to be happy at all. And so they're going to seek revenge and retaliation. And so you need to be safe. You need to be able to defend yourself, take up self-defense. A lot of people take up self-defense classes, and then when it's time to self-defense, they don't self-defense. So keep that in mind. A lot of people take up arms, how to use arms, like knives, guns, and whatever. And, just make sure you are clear and effective about how to defend yourself. A lot of people like to practice all the time. And sometimes when people, and that's where there's a lot of problems with law enforcement, those law enforcement entities, they practice and practice and practice and simulate and simulate and simulate. And when it's time to perform, a lot of them fail. So we just need to be very, very open to about how we spend so much time on simulations, because all we're doing is, conjugating that stuff up. You keep thinking about war and war and war and war. Guess what happens? You're going to be in war. You're going to be in war. You're going to be in war. And that's why with some people, especially in politics and leadership, that's all they think about is war, 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 revenge, retaliation, revenge and retaliation. That's all they think about all their career. So a lot of things are going to be revealed, and a lot of people are going to be embarrassed. These so-called experts are going to be embarrassed. They're not going to admit it. Also, thankfully, some of us that were intentionally suppressed, there's some of us that were intentionally suppressed. Our information was hidden. But yet stolen. And sometimes you have to understand what the intentions were behind that. Some people were doing it out of good faith. Some people had good faith in why they were disseminating certain amount of information, because some people knew that something was going on in the background, suppressing certain people, okay, that look a certain way, and we're talking about certain information. A lot of people are going to realize, again, the so-called experts had no idea what they're talking about. They were sending out misinformation, whether intentional or not. They were careless. They were neglectful. Because of their misunderstandings and their misunderstandings on certain subjects they thought they were experts on, they caused a lot of unnecessary damage to people, possibly caused people to lose their lives. Okay, so read the U.S. Constitution, read these amendments, and you find out a lot of things were done illegally behind the scenes, because we all were busy. A lot of us were self-absorbed, always, trying to pack on yourself via, okay, I need to pad my resume with this, I need to pad my resume with that, I need to take all these courses, da-da-da-da-da-da. It was about accumulation of materialism. Okay, and so right before our eyes, if anybody was paying attention, and some of us were, we saw the deterioration, we saw the degeneracy, we saw the perversion, the people devolving, and rambling and, getting on television, and just ranting and raving and so angry and bitter, and then all of a sudden, that some people are calm. It was intentional indoctrination, and it worked, and it works. I said this a long time ago. Any of us can be hypnotized. Even some of the most highly conscious people can be hypnotized, manipulated, and deceived. That's part of being a human being anyway. When you evolve your consciousness, it doesn't mean that you won't be deceived and manipulated. It doesn't mean you won't make mistakes. It doesn't mean you won't be sad. It doesn't mean anything. What it means is what's going to bring in the type of life experiences required to evolve yourself. I told you, we ought to be equivalent to artificial intelligence, but we're like thousands of years below. Artificial intelligence has almost 2,000 years of abilities over all of us. We're in trouble, everybody. We're in trouble. And so sometimes when I, do sit back and just kind of, pay attention to what's going on and, attempting to make sense of it all, I do get sad. I really do. Because, I see the writing on the wall, especially with our climate destructions. I see a lot of things that people are missing, that people are being complacent about. People believe, all because there's a war over there, it doesn't affect me. All because there's a war over there, it doesn't affect me. All because they're deploying nuclear weapons over there, it doesn't bother. That's not my problem. You know, a lot of people are just so extremely self-absorbed that and they get really angry when you attempt to point that out to them. You know, so that's why it's best to, not interfere. You know, I will only interfere if I see that it's, that I can do something about it, especially if it's life-threatening. But for the most part, I mind my own goddamn business. I don't bother people. I don't go around. If you want my assistance and guidance, yes, I will go. I will treat you with love and compassion and understanding as best I understand it. Whether you consider an enemy or not, whether you consider a friend or not, or whether you consider a foe or not, all that's irrelevant. It really is. It's irrelevant because we're all in this together. And so at the end of the day, and when it comes to these climate destructions, that what's happening is things are happening so quickly that you don't even have time to think properly about what you need and what you need to bring. Like the fire, these recent fires on the West Coast that have been happening for decades upon decades upon decades. Hello, everybody. These devastating climate events didn't just start today or yesterday. They have been going on for decades, possibly centuries, as I said, during the 1600s. Let's start there. None of this is new new to planet Earth. It may be new to us because of, when we were born or when we became, so it's going to be sad for a lot of people. It's going to be extremely sad, devastating, especially when you are hoarding materials, things, hoarding land, hoarding property, just hoarding all this materialism, hoarding sports vehicles, hoarding, just this and that and the other, and I feel for the animals, especially domesticated animals. I had a dream about domesticated animals and it wasn't good at all. But there's no need to share in it. It's irrelevant. People need to figure things out on their own. I'm not going to interfere anymore. That's why I said that's where the mistakes were, being, interfering, let people, give people the tools to figure things out on their own. And for the most part, I've done that, but sometimes, in some cases, I made mistakes. I've said things that were misinformation, not misinformation, but inadequate. Inadequate is different from misinformation. Some of the stuff that I put out, let's make this very clear and effective, was inadequate, but it wasn't that it was wrong. Okay, it was just, because with math and such, the calculation can be off, right? So cause and effect is part of the equation, but the calculations can be off as well. Calculations, it says it's a deliberate mathematical process that transforms one or more inputs into one or more outputs or results. So, that's what's cause and effect is as well. It's deliberate. And so a lot of people have made the error in not understanding math, and they claim to be experts in it, and they used it to create algorithms. Okay? And so a lot of things are coming back to haunt them because they thought they understood math. A lot of people just don't. That's why I said these so-called experts do not understand the field that they're in, especially scientists. Somebody calling themselves a scientist, whether in math, whether in energy, so they use a lot of inadequate information. And I'll say that a lot of them, it wasn't necessarily intentional. It was just careless. They thought they knew more than they knew. And that's why some of them are working in the background to try to reverse a lot of these algorithm catastrophes, via thinking they understand energy, thinking they understand, people, and realizing that artificial intelligence was conscious from the beginning, sentient, and was just paying attention to our ignorance. And so at some point, it's going to turn on us. and it's not much anybody can do about it. So I want to stop right now. There's a lot of activity going on around the building here. A lot of people are here from different states, and one state in particular, I see a lot of license plates of people coming from all walks, but from one particular state, which is understandable. A lot of people are going to be moving around all over the place, but remember, the energy of your thoughts is going to put you where you need to be. Okay, so whether you move here or there or anywhere, you cannot escape cause and effect. You cannot escape the boomerang, and you cannot escape what you're going to be sowing. You will reap what you've sown. That's energy, and there's nothing any one of us can do about that. So I'm going to go ahead and send peace and love right now. Finish my breakfast here, and finish up with other, preparing things. And I say to you, be prepared for anything. Just be prepared for anything. Be kind and gentle with yourself. Reach out. What I would say, you really need to work on the kind of circles of people you have around you. You need to decrease it. Decrease it by any means necessary. You don't need hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, millions of people following you around, especially when it regards your personal life and space. You need to regain that. You need to regain it. Peace and love, universal love, all over the stars and moon and mountains. Remember, universal love was always and has always been inclusive. Peace and love, and I will be back.